Hans touched on some very good points about the need for reopening borders and reopening society, because there's other side effects, obviously, such as social cohesion issues and cultural tolerance issues, and not to mention unemployment and various things. So it is very important. So what I think we have to trade off the risks between these activities and how safe we can make them. So safe, which Pascal will have the data, but IATA has produced information that 1.2 billion people have traveled through COVID, and there's only been 44 identified cases. So even if that's a gross underestimate by 90%, that's only 1 in 2.7 million people. Now, we can't necessarily compare apples with oranges, so we can't necessarily compare what we call morbidity data with spread risk. So when we look at that, we have to take a multi-tiered or multi-layered approach, which governments are doing, regulators are doing. So they're saying, testing, symptom management, as Hans has alluded to, face masks and localized lockdowns, individual lockdowns, regional lockdowns. So when we look at the airline industry, at the moment, there's pilots of testing happening. So United has started testing between San Francisco and, say, Hawaii. Now, there's only one test being implemented. Other regions, such as the Emirates, have asked for testing as well, PCR grade testing from one location to another. What we've seen is that, say, with the Emirates style approach, thus far, people can present just paper test results at the counter. We know that that's highly insecure, because you can just, I went to the airline myself, I presented my lab test result and they said, oh, this is great to see, because some people have just given us handwritten test results. Obviously, we need to implement a more secure solution, such as a digital solution. In terms of the multi-tiered approach, so that's making sure we have, we're not dealing with fraudulent or other erroneous test results. So the multi-tiered approach is really taking a much more rigorous approach to testing and tracing, I should say tracking, testing and tracing for border crossing. So we ask people to start screening, so putting in their symptom information into a digital tool before they fly, so multiple days before they fly, so that risk can be identified. Say with Chris's platform, we can do the risk predictive analytics, and then you can ask certain people who are high risk to possibly not travel, or ask for them to get testing at home in their location. So with that, they can get testing, and then you can screen out a certain number of people. And so you have a reduced risk of individuals who attend airports even. So you're reducing the risk of transmission at airports now. At the airport, you implement something like PCR grade solution, so LAMP or PCR based testing, so that you add another layer of security in terms of catching, the people who have infections. And you can add in things like multiplex testing. So by multiplex, I mean you test for COVID, but you can also test for other viruses that might be causing the symptoms or co-infections. So then you screen out those people. Airlines have done an excellent job at putting in air filtration, making sure their aircrafts are very clean. So you can also, maintain those measures, including face masks. And then if it's something like a long haul flight, you've got this, period of incubation. So you could even do pooled testing on the other side when people land. So before somebody enters a community, they've now gone through a 3-stage testing process, or 3 testings. And we could do this relatively cost effectively. So Chris and I spoke about this, and we can get this even multi-testing strategy at sub the current cost of a single test. So this is a great way to combine both the AI, digital risk analytics, alongside our existing measures that governments are putting in place. And it's about forming an interdisciplinary team to assess the local situation, develop a strategy for the local environment. And for that, say, particular route, if it's an airline route, or for the school, if it's a school that we're looking at.